stories on the theme nature for tiny adults from books. That's what we're going to do. Glad to have so many people joining in. My name is Mohit. I see Arifa here, I see Sonia, I see Shalua, and I see Bijal as well. Good to see all of you. Give some very interesting, nice stories to children here. I guess their parents would also be excited to know what we plan to do with such stories. City Book Leaders won't take much of your time to tell you what we do. A lot of patrons are here today, but for the people who are new, we are a simple concept where we talk about books, where we talk about, we don't read books or we don't force books like schools might do, but we're a cool school, I must say, and that's how we have a partner as School, one of the coolest stores in Gurgaon that caters to all kind of books. We are very thankful to Rupa Publishing, Gitu is here to get this going for us. And special thanks to all our four storytellers who are here. Without much of ado, I would now like to invite Sonia, who's our host, who graciously accepted our request to be the host and to be the host storyteller to take this forward. Sonia, over to you. I should say this virtual Zoom stage is all yours. Over to you. I will unmute you just a second. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. So thank you so much, Mohit and City Book Leaders, for this fabulous platform, I must say, for creating and curating these evenings so wonderfully for all of us, and sorting our Sunday evenings especially, and that too in these trying times. So our Sundays are sorted with a cup of chai and a lot of kahanis. And when we start today, if you allow me, I want to start today's session with एक आनंद बख्शी साहब का लिखा हुआ एक गीत है बहुत प्यारा, which goes like this, अगर आप इजाजत दें तो, which is बड़े अच्छे लगते हैं ये धरती, ये नदियाँ, ये रहना और तुम. अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि ये गीत से क्यों शुरू किया मैंने, क्योंकि भले ही हम लॉकडाउन में पिछले तकरीबन 100 दिन से और उससे थोड़े ज्यादा दिन हो गए हैं, हम घर में बैठे हैं, बट एक चीज है जो बहुत बहुत मुस्कुरा रही है, बहुत खिलखिला रही है, और वो है हमारी प्रकृति. The nature is on cloud 9. And that's why today's theme is super close and super special to my heart, that we are talking about environment. हम पेड़ पौधे पत्ते, सांप, I don't know if Arifa is bringing in snakes today or not, but हम सांप, जंगल, इन सब की बात करने वाले हैं. And we have some fabulous tellers amongst us, and I know some of them and I don't know some of them, and I can see there are lots of participants who are here to talk. So Mohit, do we have our first teller? I can't see her on.
Shalu is very much here.
Shalu is here? Okay.
आप Shalu को बोलना पड़ेगा. Yes, ma'am, I am present here.
So हमारे साथ आज बहुत उम्दा कहानीकार मौजूद हैं. We have Shalu, we have Bijal, and we have Arifa. इनके बारे में मैं आपको धीरे धीरे बताऊंगी, एक साथ नहीं बताऊंगी इनके बारे में, क्योंकि हम स्टार्ट करने वाले हैं. शालू आपके साथ, if you're ready, तो मैं ब्रीफली शालू के बारे में कुछ 2-3 चीजें कहूंगी कि चाहे इनका करीबी नाता जो है वो कंप्यूटर्स की कीबोर्ड के साथ है, क्योंकि ये सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोफेशनल हैं, बैंक इंडस्ट्री में काम करती हैं, बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री में, तो कंप्यूटर के साथ साथ काफी पैसे के साथ भी इनका कनेक्शन आई एम श्योर कहीं ना कहीं है. बट इनकी जो रूट्स है और जो जड़ें हैं वो शब्दों के साथ हैं, क्योंकि ये शायरी लिखती हैं, और आज शायद हमें उन्हीं शब्दों से मंत्र मुक्त करने वाली हैं. तो बिना कुछ ज्यादा वक्त लिए और कुछ ज्यादा वक्त जाया किए, मैं गुजारिश करती हूँ शालू जी आपसे, that stage is all yours. Like Mohit said, even though it's a virtual stage, but it's all yours now.
Thanks a lot, Sonia. And I think मैंने शब्दों के साथ उतना नहीं खेला होगा जितना आपने beautifully express किया है. Thanks a lot, Mohit. Thanks, Sonia, for introducing it so beautifully. I am today going to bring a very beautiful story for kids and parents. और ये story एक ऐसी छोटी बच्ची की है जो बड़ी होकर नेचर के लिए लड़ रही है और उस एनवायरनमेंट को जिंदा रखने के लिए, इंडियन एनवायरनमेंट को, इंडिया की संस्कृति को, इंडिया की नदियों को जिंदा रखने के लिए। सो ये छोटी बच्ची, दैट गर्ल नेम इज मेधा, एंड मेधा इज स्टडिंग एट होम, बट उसका ध्यान कहीं पर पढ़ाई के बीचों बीच अपने पापा पर है, जो पापा किसी एक अंकल के आने पे और उनके मिठाई लाने पे उस मिठाई को फेंक रहे हैं। और वो बहुत हैरान है कि ऐसा कैसे, उन्होंने ही तो हमें सब हमेशा सिखाया है कि वी हैव टू नेवर नेवर एवर वेस्ट फूड, एंड व्हाई इज ही थ्रोइंग दैट मिठाई, एंड दैट टू ऑन अ स्पेशल दिवाली डे। तभी उसने सुना कि उसके पापा उसकी मम्मा को कह रहे हैं कि हाउ कैन आई एक्सेप्ट मिठाई फ्रॉम अ पर्सन who has not given मिठाई to his workers। So वहां पर उसे एहसास हुआ सही गलत का उस सेंस में कि इसमें क्या सही है, कि किसकी कितनी कद्र करनी है। तो यहाँ से उसकी कहानी शुरू हुई और हम उस कहानी को लेकर चलते हैं उसके स्कूल पर, जहाँ पर वो बहुत लिखती है, पढ़ती है, डिबेट्स में पार्टिसिपेट करती है, सिंगिंग, डांसिंग में उसका बहुत रुचि है। तो एक दिन उसकी टीचर की नजर पड़ी उसकी बुक्स पर और उसकी नोटबुक्स पर। वहां पर उसने बहुत सारी कविताएं लिखी हुई हैं, एंड ऑल दोज पोएम्स वर so good that teacher wanted to put it on the school magazine। अब टीचर इस असमंजस में है कि सारी स्टोरी, सारी पोइट्री को एक ही नाम से कैसे डाला जाए। तो उसने मेधा से पूछा, क्या मैं आपकी पोइट्री क्या दूसरे बच्चों के नाम पे डाल सकती हूँ? उस बच्ची ने कहा, हाँ आप डाल सकते हैं। एंड the next time when the magazine was published, one poem won the prize and was published in the magazine, and that poem's name was Santara and Limbu। So जब उसने देखा लेकिन वो नाम तो किसी और के था, तो she was very disappointed। She went to her mother and shared this with her। अब then mother got furious कि अब मैं जाके क्लास में बात करती हूँ। उन्होंने प्रिंसिपल से बात की, प्रिंसिपल ने नेक्स्ट डे उसे करेक्ट किया। तो यहाँ पर वो सीख गई अपनी भले बुरे की पहचान से अपने भले के लिए खड़े होने के मकाम तक। वहां से वो आगे बढ़ी और उसने नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ सोशल साइंसेस से अपनी सोशल साइंसेस की मास्टर्स कंप्लीट की। नियर द एज ऑफ 30 शी वॉज participating in one of the government project जहां पर नर्मदा को ऊपर डैम बनाने की बात हो रही थी। She was close to her 30s and उसको लगा कि नर्मदा पे डैम तो बनाया जा रहा है, let me get into the valley and realize and किसको क्या इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है। एंड वहां से उसकी जर्नी शुरू हुई देश के लिए लड़ने तक पे, और वहां जाकर वो बन गई मेधा बच्ची से मेधा पाटकर। लेकिन उसकी बुनियाद शुरू हुई थी अच्छे बुले की पहचान से लेकर, जब वो अपनी पोएम्स, अपनी डिबेट्स को अपने पापा के पास लेके जाती थी और डिस्कस करती थी। उसके पापा ने हमेशा कहा कि अब तुम बड़ी हो गई हो, अब तुम अपनी पोइट्री, अपनी डिबेट्स खुद लिखोगी, अपनी जंग खुद लड़ोगी। एंड विद दैट ही गेव हिम अ very strong piece of advice कि throw the piece of paper away। If you are getting into it, you want to convince a person, look into that person's eyes, don't look down। People will think that you are lying if you are looking away। तो यहाँ इस बुनियाद से लेकर मेधा अब तक लड़ रही है, पिछले 1989 से शुरू होकर अब तक। और 1989 में मेधा ने एक ग्रुप फॉर्म किया, नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन, टू रेजिस्ट द बिल्डिंग ऑफ डैम्स यूजिंग ऑल नॉन वायलेंट मीन्स। इसी सिलसिले में मेधा has been jailed for her actions many times, but she has always been saying, if you want to make a difference, you should be prepared for both jail as well as death। So वो लड़की जो 1 दिसंबर 1954 को इंडियन सोसाइटी में पैदा हुई, जहां हम सिर्फ आजादी से कुछ ही साल आगे थे, और आज एक सोशल एक्टिविस्ट हैं क्रूशियल पॉलिटिकल एंड इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज में, जहाँ पर वो ट्राइबल्स, फार्मर्स, लेबर्स और वुमेन फेसिंग इनजस्टिस को रिप्रेजेंट करती हैं थ्रू अनवायलेंट मीन. सो दिस स्टोरी इज डेडिकेटेड टू हर and to all our lovely children who have a lot of potential to make a difference in our country. और इसी बीच में उन्हें बहुत सारे awards और honors भी मिले. तो ये स्टोरी मैं ये कह के ख़त्म करना चाहूँगी आप लोगों के लिए कि हमें हमेशा भले बुरे और अपने लिए भले बुरे की पहचान से शुरू कर वहाँ तक पहुँचना है जहाँ हम खुद को और देश को प्राउड फील कर सकें. Thank you, Sonia.
Wow, I think this is fabulous. So this is a new way of saying I am ecstatic or I'm happy, because our claps are not audible. So when we do online session, we do this. So I think if you all have loved the story, you can do this for Shalu. So thank you so much.
I think Shalu, if you can also tell the name of the book from which you have picked the book.
Yes, so name of the book is Be Like a Girl, and I have this book with me, so it's like a girl. And my 2 daughters helped me find the story in it. So this is
a fascinating book.
My girls.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating book. Everyone should read it. There are close to 50 Indian heroines as part of this book. It's a lovely book. Small stories, nicely structured. Beautiful book. Thank you, Shalu, for picking up the story. Sonia, over to you.
Wow. Yeah, I'm still in that story of Medha. And, as a storyteller, I always try to link each story to the story gem. कि हमने क्या उस स्टोरी में जेम था. तो आपकी कहानी में ना वो एक गांधी जी का एक बड़ा पुराना जेम छुपा हुआ था. If you agree to me that be the change you want to see in the world. तो मेधा ने जो इतना साहसी कदम एक छोटी सी लड़की अपने अपब्रिंगिंग से अगर वो कर पाई है, तो आई थिंक वी ऑल कैन डू इट. इफ शी कुड डू इट, वी ऑल कैन डू इट. So once again, thank you so much, Shalu, for starting the evening with such a power-packed story. But before we go ahead, Mohit, if you allow, can we just put a little slide on what we are doing in July for a wonderful session? मैं आपको पहले उसका थोड़ा बता देती हूँ कि कहानियों की जो रूट्स हैं वो बहुत सैकड़ों हजार साल पुरानी हैं. We don't, none of us know कि कितनी पुरानी कहानी कब शुरू हुई होगी, पहली कहानी कब बनी होगी, कुछ 10-20 हजार साल पुरानी. बट कुछ 5-7 हजार साल पुरानी जो कहानियां हैं वो हमारे साथ आज भी हैं वेदास और उपनिषद की फॉर्म में. और कुछ कहानियां हमने शायद पढ़ी होंगी, कुछ कहानियां हमने सुनी होंगी. And we some of us might know this fabulous author Rupa Pai, जिन्होंने अपनी एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन किताब लिखी है, वेदास और उपनिषद्स for children. I don't know if Mohit, you have a copy of that book, but I'm sure we have a slide to show. CBL is bringing in an exclusive session by none other than Rupa herself. She has agreed to do this session for parents. Although she is calling it a session for parents, as a teller, I would urge anybody and everybody to come in for this session and be a part of this exclusive, I think 4-weekly program. It's running for 4 weeks starting from 12th of July. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half session on each Sunday. This is one exclusive program that nobody should miss. So everybody who's present in the session today, have a look at the slide. Are we playing the slide, Mohit?
No, not now. We'll do it more like a movie ka interval, right?
Okay, great. So moving on with our evening today, we next have somebody जिनकी मैं बहुत बड़ी fan हूँ, Bijal, and not just a teller but an author. And she's a big custodian of environment. She writes about children literature primarily, but she also works as a freelance journalist for sustainable environment. और अगर बीजल लिख नहीं रही हैं और पढ़ नहीं रही हैं, तो there are only 2 places you can find Bijal. One, either she is traversing through some forest of India, or you may find her in the kitchen cooking her favorite banana muffins, या फिर छोले. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bijal. So now for mazedar tadkedar kahaniyan on nature, whether we have a plan B in place or how do we rescue or what do we do, it's completely yours. So stage is totally yours. Bijal, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. I'm sitting and laughing at
that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Mohit, Citibook Leaders, and Geetu for having me. Um, today morning, a friend messaged me on a children's literature WhatsApp group, and she was sending pictures about the ongoing work on this coastal road that's happening in Mumbai and Worli. And she said something that really struck me. She said the sea, it seems, has already started being pushed back. And really, this is not for the first time in the city's history that the sea has been reclaimed. And, I've always found it puzzling that when we talk about nature stories, a lot of our examples that we use are international. And which is why I was really thrilled that I got a chance to write So You Want to Know About the Environment, which talks about nature from a very, very Indian perspective. So I'm going to read a little bit from it. And to begin with, I want you all to think about this very important question. And I'm going to show you an illustration from the book. The question is, what do gorillas and gadgets have in common, except the fact that their names start with the letter G? So to answer this question, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and imagine. Imagine that you're a gorilla in East Congo. Go on. It would be awesome to be 6 feet tall, weigh 200 kilos, and less awesome because you're an endangered species. You are smart. You have great tracts of forest land to chill in. You can climb trees like a monkey. And as a gorilla, you don't use smartphones. You have better things to do with your time, such as pounding your chest, munching on fruits, and mostly hanging about. Unfortunately for you, I'd like you to open your eyes now. Humans do use smartphones and use laptops, tablets, and gadgets. And now you and your family are losing your home because of that gadget. Why? People are mining for coltan, which is short for columbite tantalite, a metallic ore found in East Congo. Now, coltan is a very important part of cell phones, laptops, and in fact, I couldn't be talking to you without this very important mineral. And when coltan is refined, it becomes tantalum, which is heat resistant and stores energy. Now, in the Kahuzi-Baiga National Park, gorilla populations have almost halved because forest land has been cleared for mining. Now, how much do we all pay for a cell phone? 25,000, 50,000 rupees. Now that phone does not work without coltan, yet miners who mine this mineral get paid very poorly. It's also often smuggled from Congo, and the profit from it helps fuel war by neighboring countries. So what we need gorilla-safe cell phones. And one of the things that if you have children who are listening to this, I want you to go back and make a cunning plan to save gorillas. And you might, and this is the main thing, right? Something that's happening that we are using is actually impacting gorillas in Congo. To me, that's something that constantly blows my mind. What are we doing to the environment? Now for a slightly less sad story, but a very interesting one. I don't know how many of you have actually got ever pecked by a crow. Has that happened to you? And if it hasn't, you're very lucky, because crows actually have very, very sharp beaks. In fact, they're so sharp that they're called the Swiss Army knives of beaks. So this is a story. It's called The Attack of the Ninja Crow. Taranjeet Chhabria had a strange problem. Whenever she would go outside her house, a crow would come swooping down, cawing loudly, and would try to peck her with a very sharp beak on the top of her head. So now imagine Swiss Army pecking on your head, not fun. Now it became so bad that Taranjeet couldn't go out of her house without ducking and sprinting to her car. So finally the family decided to decipher the attack of the ninja crow. And after careful observations, because that's what you do with nature, right? You go and look outside and you observe. You cannot ask questions to nature, but you can observe and learn a lot of things. So when they observed, they realized that Ninja Crow was a mommy crow.
Her nest was in their garden, right about the place where Taranjeet burnt garden leaves. Now, garbage smoking is also injurious to babies' health. No wonder Mommy Crow became a ninja crow. So after that, Taranjeet basically stopped burning the leaves and Mommy Crow left her alone. Now, what does this prove? You tell me. Should we all wear helmets to protect ourselves from the attack of the ninja crow? No, it shows us that animals are smart, even though human beings think they are smarter. Now, crows are part of the Corvidae family, and if you've seen one thing about them as compared to other birds, they have larger heads, right? They're very intelligent and they have powerful memory skills. In fact, there's a study that shows that crows actually have reasoning abilities similar to a 7-year-old child. Now, how many of you have a 7-year-old child or know one? Know how smart they are, how inquisitive and curious they are. In fact, what I find fascinating about crows is the way they use tools. They've been known to fashion hooks to actually pick out grubs from logs, for instance. And something that the story always reminds me when Taranjeet's daughter-in-law is a friend of mine and she narrated the story to me and it went into the book, is just how small actions of ours without even knowing can impact animals. And we never really stopped to think about it. And I'm thinking that the lockdown must have been a good time for a lot of people to say, hey, nature's reclaiming. We've got dolphins here. We've got birds outside our window. Especially with birds, I kind of feel like birds and butterflies were always there. We just didn't take the time to observe. And so one of the things that I would encourage you all to do is to get your children to become young Sherlock Holmes, because it's especially something that you can do right now where you have a limited space and time and lots of time. Get them to put on their little Sherlock Holmes cap and actually look around them. I have a friend, Radha Rangarajan, who I've co-written a book with, who actually pushed me out of my I was always about, let's go to the forest and observe animals. And she was like, look around you. And so now when I'm going out in the morning for a run, I'll suddenly stop because there's a signature spider out there and she's spinning a web. And the lovely thing about signature spiders is that even somebody who's I have terrible memory, so I can never recognize one species from another. I can tell a tiger from a lion. I can't tell this bird from that bird always. But the signature spider has this little zigzaggy lines around its web. And you know that's the signature spider because of that. And you can just stand there and observe. One casualty of this is that your neighbors think there is something wrong with you. Because you're constantly peering at plants, looking at caterpillars and listening to bulbuls and whatnot. So that I must warn you is something that might happen with you. And I'm going to end with another story, which is a little bit closer to home because, like I said, I wanted to talk about this book. In this book, I wanted to talk about some of the problems we face in India. And the title of the story is When a Lake Becomes a Washing Machine. Is that snow? Neha was awestruck by the soft white flurries that swirled on top of Belandur Lake in Bangalore. The flurries looked strangely beautiful, like someone had let the washing machine run riot, and now it was spewing froth and foam all across the lake. Or at least Neha thought it looked like that. Snow in Bangalore? That's ridiculous, said her friend Abhiyan, who had come over to play Minecraft. As they looked at the lake full of froth, it started to rain. The froth spilled onto the roads, obstructing the traffic. There was a disgusting stench around the lake, as if piles and piles of garbage was rotting away. Neha and Abhiyan quickly closed the window. Off they went to the internet to look up the news to figure out what exactly was happening. The stink is like a smelly armpit multiplied by 320 million liters, said Neha. What? Why that much? Asked Abhiyan. Every day, Bangalore spews out 1100 million liters of sewage. But so far, the city can only treat 780 million liters. The rest gets dumped into the lake along with effluents. As a result, ammonia and phosphate levels go up, and that's the froth right there. As they read on, they found out that detergents used to wash clothes have a lot of phosphates and foaming agents, which add to the froth. They both, Neha and Abhya, looked at each other and grinned. The joke about the washing machine leak was true. A few days later, Neha sent Abhyan a photo message. The froth on the lake had caught fire. The chemicals in the foam had reacted, and poof, up in flames, the lake went. A burning lake, who would have thought? That's an illustration by Sashan Mukherjee, whose illustrations are in the book. And I really think that I'm going to end with a quote from one of my favorite people in the world. Her name is Rachel Carson, and she wrote this beautiful book called The Silent Spring, but she also wrote another book called The Sense of Wonder, and it's a story about her discovering nature along with her nephew. And she writes, if a child is to keep alive his inborn sense of wonder, he needs the companionship of at least one adult who can share it, rediscovering with him the joy, excitement, and mystery of the world we live in. So I always believe that you are one of those adults who needs to make sure that sense of wonder stays alive in children. But also, very importantly, books are that one force that keep children riveted to nature. Thank you so much.
Wow, beautiful. And I like I said, if we are happy, if Bijal has made us happy, we do this. Fabulous. Thank you so much once again, Bijal. It's always a delight to hear you and your wonderful stories. This book is very, very precious. So if you want to know about your environment, because it just talks about one very important and fundamental thing, which is about knowing your actions and knowing the impact of these actions we give to our environment. So this is a beautiful attempt by her, and
I can add.
Yes, please.
What Bijal just said is the story of Congo. The first story I read about Congo out of my love for geography, and the kids and the parents who are watching it, they can see a huge map, and that's what I study. This is a story I read in a book which is called The Prisoners of Geography quite some time back, and I did realize that our phones are a major reason for killing a lot of people in Congo because of the war that Uganda has waged, and it has been fed by a lot of military forces across the globe. So there's a lot of geopolitical pressure to mine this product, the coltan that you just mentioned. And I think the message to all of us as parents or as children who are watching it is ask questions from where is it coming? And even if we don't have answer, we should actually get back to people to ask that question. From where is it coming? Where do we get this shine on our phone or on our laptops? We should ask that question. Thank you very much. And so next time, if there's a scheme to change our phone, I think we have a story to tell to kids, right? Why should we not change our phones in a scheme, exchange scheme? Yeah. Sonia.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, thanks, Bijal. And the biggest story gem that came out of your story and from your book is the power of observation. If you agree to that, how much do we observe and what does the observation give us as children? It makes us more inquisitive, it makes us more wondrous, and it makes us more, more desirous of knowing things and hows and whys. So once again, thank you so much. And I think we are going to take a little quick chai break for maybe 2-3 minutes, Mohit.
We'll got a nimbu pani and a biscuit break.
Okay.
And
or anything. I mean, aaj ki date mein, Ayush Kahwa is the biggest drink that has become in our households. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, as they say, हम हाजिर होंगे एक छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद. आप कहीं मत जाइए बिकॉज अभी बहुत कुछ बाकी है, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें बाकी हैं, बातें बाकी हैं, कहानियां बाकी हैं. तो जल्दी से आप अपना चाय और जो भी नींबू पानी, कावा, व्हाटएवर यू वांट टू हैव, वो यहीं लेके आइए क्योंकि हम कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग दिखाने वाले हैं ब्रेक में. So Mohit,
we'll back in say 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe 5 minutes. Yes. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
My name is Rupa Pai, and I'm a children's writer, and two of my best-selling books are The Gita for Children and The Vedas and Upanishads for Children. And I shall be running a course on how to share the wisdoms in these texts with your children for parents of very young children. And why do I think it's important for you to attend this course? It's only 1.5 hours of your time per week for 4 weeks. Well, because while we focus so much as parents on giving our children wings, we sometimes neglect the roots that are so required to anchor them and tell them who they really are. And what better way to anchor your children and to share wisdoms with them and moral values and truths than by telling them stories. And some of the most marvelous stories are found in our ancient texts. They are not boring, they are not religious even. They are the most secular wisdoms, but conveyed through the best form of teaching, which is storytelling. And you, by the end of this course, as parents, can transform into master storytellers and build these strong bonds with your children with a deep understanding of the philosophy behind the stories. The children don't need to know that. They just need to know the fun stories. They need to know the characters. But when you understand what the philosophy and the behind the stories are, what they are metaphors for, and how they are relevant to our lives in the 21st century, you will be able to convey them with a depth that is often missing in most storytellers. So I welcome you to come and attend this course. It's going to be fun. Do it.
I just had my Nimbu Pani. I'm not sure about others, but I had my big glass of Nimbu Pani. Sonia, are you back?
Yes.
Great.
That was quick, Mohit. Your Nimbu Pani must have been ready, huh?
Kind of.
Must have, obviously. See, smart one.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey Arifa, how are you? We're going with you next. And I can see such a beautiful backdrop you have behind you. Such nice greenery. Yes. Wow. And it's raining, huh?
No, it's not raining actually. It's dusk here already. And there is a small lake adjoining the garden, just at the back of this. And I saw a crocodile here, I think a couple of weeks back.
Hope you're not bringing any such wild species here in the story today too.
I wish.
I remember meeting Arifa in Bukru last year. This year is looking like a distant dream. So
I know.
Yeah.
It has been, well, the whole year has been very unexpected.
My
but we need to
God.
take this as a warning rather than, and this might just be a precursor if we continue with our ways,
Absolutely. Mohit, whenever you give us a green signal, we are, I think, good to go. So
Yeah, I think let's go ahead. I think let's go ahead. Please.
I mean, yeah, it's already 4.5 minutes. So if you want, I can already. I can see people are there. Yeah. So
yeah, Sonia, we can start now. People are here now. We can start.
All right. So welcome back, as they say. Like I don't know how they say, but I would say it like break के बाद आप सबका स्वागत है इस beautiful story session और संडे की शाम में अपने नींबू पानी और अपनी चाय के साथ और जैसा कि हमने वादा किया था कि बहुत सारी कहानियां और बातें अभी बाकी हैं. So I'm going to bring to you now Arifa, who's another master teller and a wonderful author. Some part of Arifa's childhood, or if I know a little bit about her, is she spent a good amount of her childhood in jungles, if I may say that, Arifa, amongst exploring the caves and not just the caves or the trees or rocks, but snakes. I don't know if she's bringing a snake to the story now. I don't know, but she's bringing a story from the book which has a word snake written in it. And it's an interesting, wonderful read. because it tells you a lot about the facts and the myths that goes in the lives of wildlife. So I think बाकी की कहानी सुनने के लिए over to you, Arifa.
Thank you very much, Sonia, and thank you, Mohit. Hello, everyone. Ayubowan from Sri Lanka. I hope you all have visited a forest at least once. The jungles and my family have a long-standing relationship. My grandfather was one of the earliest big game hunters turned conservationist of India. He was a contemporary of Jim Corbett. And my father has been a wildlife protection crusader of sorts. In fact, he's fondly known as the Vasco da Gama of the Mewar jungles because he has tread most of those forests on foot and helped to design most of the wildlife sanctuaries that we have there today. So he used to take us to the jungles and inside the cages of leopards and bears and crocodiles and pythons so that we lose all fear of animals. And we did to a great extent. In fact, one of my early memories is playing under the same banyan tree in Ranthambore National Park, where a tigress used to be seated the whole day. So he always taught us not to fear the dark, not to fear the forests, and not to fear the unknown, and to get to the bottom of all the mysteries that we came across in life. That is, in fact, one of the reasons why I co-authored this book with him called Do Tigers Drink Blood and 13 Other Mysteries of Nature. So I'll be talking a little about the title of the book today, and I'll also tell you one of my experiences in the jungles. So do tigers drink blood? What do you think? Do tigers, lions, leopards, do they drink blood? Many of us think that they do, but they don't. Tigers, lions, leopards, these big cats, they do not drink blood. But then how did this misconception come about? So there are a few reasons behind this misconception. One is that when a big cat is making a kill, it generally holds on to the neck of the prey for a very long time to ensure that it is dead. Now, somebody who's seen this might think that the tiger or the leopard is drinking blood when it's not. The other reason is that when you go out to play and then you come back home, what is that one thing that you immediately want? You want a drink of water. So once a big cat has made a kill, that's a lot of work, they also get thirsty. So at times they might just leave the kill for a while and go and grab a drink of water and then come and eat it. So people think that, "Arey, isne to khoon pi liya, it has a belly full of blood. That's why, it will have a meal later." But then that's not the case. The other thing is that if you hold something in your mouth for too long, you salivate, right? Saliva banne lagta hai muh mein. And then you start to gulp it down. So the onlookers, when they see this tiger or leopard, holding the throat of the prey for so long and gulping down its own saliva, they get the impression that it is actually drinking blood when it is not. The other reason is that these big cats, they prefer high meat. Acha, high meat kya hota hai? High meat is rotten meat because it is easier to tear from the bones. So sometimes they leave the kill for a while so that the flesh gets a little softer and then they come and eat. So I'll tell you an instance. One evening, my father was returning from a forest and he came across a dead animal. I think it was a deer. And this animal was completely rotten. It was covered with maggots and it was smelling so bad that you and I might not have been able to sit there. But my father is very attuned. His senses are very attuned with nature. So he thought that now, since there is a dead animal here, some or the other carnivore might come to eat it. So he went a little away and sat there in wait. And his watch was rewarded after some time. At dusk, a leopard came to that dead animal. And you know what it did? It first started to slurp all the maggots like we would eat cream out of milk. And then it enjoyed it for a while and then it started to eat the flesh. So they really like high meat. So those are a few reasons why, we got this misconception that tigers drink blood, but they don't. And if you tell this to Dracula, that tigers and leopards drink blood, he will say, what a load of nonsense. So I'll now tell you one of my personal experiences in the wild and the lesson that I've learned from the forest. So my father used to take us into the jungles every summer. And like every other summer, we had gone to Sumer, which is a sanctuary in Kumbhalgarh. Dawn and dusk are the two best times to see animals in the wild, because nocturnal, diurnal, and crepuscular animals, they all are the most active at dawn and dusk. So every dusk, like in the evening, we would go and sit near a waterhole and watch the animals come there to drink water. So we were sitting there that evening too, and one of my school friends had accompanied me to the forest that year. Two of my cousins were there and my father was there. And we all were sitting behind a few bushes a little away from the water hole. Every day, a sounder of 17 wild boars used to come and drink water there. And we were sitting and waiting, and like, you know, their daily routine, the 17 wild boars came there. For some reason, I think one of us would have moved. They saw movement behind the bushes and sensed danger, and all the 17 of them attacked us. My father quietly raised one of his hands for all of us to be eye still. We had complete faith in our father. We kept on sitting there like rocks. And right at that moment, there was this big cobra that went past. It actually slithered onto my father's boots and went on the other side, but we didn't move. So luckily, I mean, these wild boars were very near us. They're just a few feet away when the direction of the wind changed and the wild boars sensed humans ahead. And they stopped then and there. They just stopped there. And they kept on making huffing and puffing and angry noises. And then after a few moments, they turned and they went away. Now the snake, we were very excited to see the cobra, especially Sadat, my brother, he went after it. And that was when the cobra raised its hood and it demonstrated and it hissed. So Sadat backed off and the cobra went on its way. So the lesson that I learned was that animals are large-hearted. How many of us will be okay with a wild boar or a cobra in our house? Forget about our house. You know, if it's in the backyard or our garden or our colony or even our city, we will not rest in peace till the time they are captured or even killed after that. So that is a very important lesson that I have learned from the wild. If you want to read more about mysteries of nature, maybe you can pick up this book and read it and let me know how you like it. You can contact me on www.arifatehseen.com. Thank you.
Hey, that was fabulous. बीच में थोड़ा सा डर लग गया अरीफा जब आपने कोबरा की बात की, and I warned them in the beginning that she's definitely going to bring a snake in the story. But thank you so much.
And somehow I was Sonia, I was waiting. Possibly Arifa would have told that crocodiles have stones in their stomach and they use it as a grinder. Just imagine as a grinder. A crocodile with stones in it.
She would definitely have something about crocodile which Mohit, none of us would know. You have to sit with her for half an hour, for 40 minutes to completely get bowled over by the facts of wildlife.
I got this book a while ago and I've already finished 3 stories from this.
Yeah.
This is fascinatingly written. And the same thing happened with Bijal's book. I got it 3 days back and I read it all in a go. It took me almost 3.5 hours, 4 hours, I guess. And I finished it. Fantastic book, which is called A Cloud Called Bhura. Just imagine a cloud called Bhura, and from now on, whenever I see above, I see whether it's a Bhura or a Neela or a Pila, what cloud it is.
It's a beautiful book. I've read it long ago, and it's a beautiful book. And that's why I said that, you know, I have 2 of my favorites there, and now I could say that, you know, 3 of my favorites, because I had not heard Shalu before. So thanks.
Sonia, let's announce to everyone that we have a fantastic quiz post your story.
Yes.
So they should be attentive.
Yeah, so all the participants, I'm sure, who've been glued to these fabulous stories, Please continue to do that because we have something exciting coming up towards the end, which Mohit fondly calls a quiz. वो बेसिकली एक प्रिंसिपल की तरह एक्ट करते हैं कि वो देखते हैं कि आपने कितना ध्यान लगा के अपने कान खोल के कहानी सुनी, अपनी सेंसेस खोल के कहानी सुनी. तो और उसमें सही जवाब देने वालों को इनाम भी है. तो इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि आपको क्वेश्चन पूछे जाएंगे, सही जवाब देने पे आपको बहुत बढ़िया इनाम भी मिलेगा. मोहित, आई होप यू हैव द इनाम रेडी फॉर एवरीबॉडी. कुछ तो होगा.
We don't want to consume more.
कुछ मिलेगा, डोंट वरी. मोहित के बैग से कभी कोई खाली नहीं गया है. I can proudly say that. You know, he's a giver, so you will definitely have something to take back. So once again, thanks Arifa for bringing in these beautiful facts. Like I said, that this whole book is about lots of facts and myths about lives of wildlife. Okay. Now it's my turn to tell you the story because like Mohit said in the beginning that I am a storyteller but not an author. तो मैं अरीफा की कहानियां जरूर सुनाती हूँ, बीजल की कहानी जरूर सुनाती हूँ और बहुत सारे और ऐसे ऑथर्स हैं जिनकी कहानियां सुनाना मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. बट आज मैं बीजल और अरीफा की कहानी नहीं सुना रही हूँ. आज मैं कहानी सुना रही हूँ करणजीत कौर की, जिसका नाम है क्लाउड ऑफ ट्रैश और जिसे पब्लिश किया है प्रथम बुक्स ने. एंड इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल थिन बुक, जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं पतली सी किताब है, बट ये एक किताब मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब है. तो मैं जब भी नेचर की, एनवायरनमेंट की बात करती हूँ कहीं पे एज अ टेलर, मैं इस कहानी को जरूर बोलती हूँ. तो कहानी है एक छोटी सी लड़की चीकू के बारे में. सो हियर इट गोज. चीकू एक दिन जब सोकर उठी तो उसके सिर पर बहुत भार था, मानो उसके सिर पे किसी ने एक पत्थर रख दिया हो. वो धीरे से पैर रख के उठी और उसने ऊपर देखा. अरे मेरे सिर पर ये क्या है, इतना बड़ा बादल, और वो भी कचरे का बादल. उस कचरे के बादल में केले का छिलका, सेब का छिलका, बिस्किट और चिप्स के खाली पैकेट्स और तरह तरह के फलों के बीज और जाने कौन कौन से खाली रंग बिरंगी पन्नियां. और इस कचरे के बादल के चारों तरफ मोटी मोटी मक्खियां भिन-भिना रही थी और उसके सिर के ऊपर से बज़ बज़ करके आवाज कर रही थी. चीकू बहुत दुखी होकर जल्दी से अपनी माँ के पास दौड़ती हुई गई. माँ, मेरे सिर पर देखो कैसा बादल कचरे का मंडरा रहा है. माँ ने उसकी तरफ देखा. चीकू, ये तो होना ही था. मैं तो तुम्हें कब से समझाती थी कि कचरे को इधर उधर मत फेंको, यही कचरा तुम्हारे पीछे बादल बन के मंडराएगा. तब तो तुमने मेरी एक भी नहीं सुनी, और अब जब ये कचरे का बादल तुम्हारे सिर पे मंडरा रहा है तो अब मैं तुम्हारी मदद नहीं कर सकती. चीकू बहुत गुस्से में भिन-भिनाती हुई अपने वॉशरूम गई और उसने पूरी शैम्पू की बोतल अपने सिर पे उड़ेल दी. उसे लगा कि मैं बहुत सारा शैम्पू डाल के अपने बाल धोऊंगी तो ये कचरे का बादल चला जाएगा. बट कचरे का बादल तो टस से मस नहीं हुआ और उसे वैसे ही स्कूल जाना पड़ा. और जब स्कूल पहुंची तो कोई दोस्त उसके साथ खेलने के लिए तैयार नहीं था. आप ही बताइए, आपकी किसी दोस्त के सिर पे कचरे का बादल और मक्खियां बज़ कर रही होंगी तो क्या आप उसके साथ खेलेंगे? कभी भी नहीं. और तो और चीकू से बहुत बुरी बदबू भी आ रही थी, जैसे सड़े हुए कचरे में आती है. तो चीकू बेचारी बहुत उदास, पूरा दिन अकेले बैठ के बहुत उदास रही और ऐसी ही उदासी में घर वापस आ गई. जब वो घर वापस आ रही थी तो उसने देखा कि पड़ोस की आंटी कचरे की लिफाफे को छत से नीचे फेंक रही थी. वही अपनी रीमा आंटी. जब चीकू ने रीमा आंटी को ऐसे करते हुए देखा तो दूर से चिल्लाई, रीमा आंटी, आप कचरे को नीचे मत फेंको, क्योंकि अगर आप ऐसा करोगे तो आपके सिर पे भी मेरी तरह ही ऐसा कचरे का बादल बन जाएगा. रीमा आंटी ने कचरे के बादल को देखकर बहुत डर गई. वो तुरंत नीचे गई, सारा कचरा बहुत आराम से डस्टबिन में फेंका और वो खाली पन्नी को लेकर, खाली लिफाफे को लेकर घर आ गई। जैसे ही ये हुआ, चीकू ने देखा कि उसका बादल, कचरे का बादल थोड़ा सा छोटा हो गया था। चीकू ये देखकर बहुत खुश हुई, क्योंकि अब उसे समझ आ गया था कि उसे क्या करना है। जैसे ही घर के अंदर घुसी, देखा उसका छोटा भाई जबरदस्ती पेंसिल को छील रहा है। पेंसिल शेविंग्स शार्प करते हुए नीचे गिर जाती हैं, और वो पूरे के पूरे पेंसिल के छिलके नीचे गिरते जा रहे थे। उसने डांटते हुए अपने भाई को कहा, मिट्ठू, ये पेंसिल के छिलके जल्दी से उठाओ, वरना तुम्हारे सिर पर मेरे सिर के जैसा कचरे का बादल आ जाएगा। मिट्ठू वो बादल देखकर बहुत डर गया। उसने तुरंत सारी पेंसिल की छिलके उठाई और तुरंत उन्हें डस्टबिन में डाल दिया। ऐसा करते ही चीकू के सिर का कचरे का बादल और छोटा हो गया। और अब चीकू को बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझ आ चुका था कि उसे क्या करना है। अगले दिन जब वो स्कूल पहुंची, तो उसने जहां तहां कहीं भी किसी को कचरा फैलाते हुए देखा, तो वो तुरंत वहां पर पहुंच गई और पूरा दिन स्कूल में, स्कूल के पार्क में, क्लासरूम में उसने किसी को कचरा फैलाने नहीं दिया। और ऐसा करने से जब तक वो स्कूल से घर पहुंची, कचरे का बादल जा चुका था, उसके सिर से पूरी तरह से गायब हो चुका था। परंतु ऐसा नहीं कि इसके बाद चीकू वापस अपनी उसी दुनिया में चली गई। अब चीकू को समझ आ चुका था कि मुझे कचरा इधर उधर फैलाने की बजाय कचरे को हमेशा एक डस्टबिन में डालना है। और सिर्फ मुझे ही नहीं, बल्कि मेरे आसपास जितने भी लोग हैं, उन्हें कचरा फैलाने से रोकना है। तो ये एक छोटी सी चीकू की कहानी बहुत पसंद है मुझे, और इस किताब में बहुत ब्यूटीफुली इस कहानी को इलस्ट्रेट किया है। इलस्ट्रेशंस हैं भावना व्यास की, जिन्होंने बहुत बारीकी से, बहुत प्यार से इस कहानी को इलस्ट्रेट किया है। अगर आपके पास ये किताब नहीं भी है, तो भी आप स्टोरी वीवर्स पे जाके इस कहानी को मजे से पढ़ सकते हैं। और इस कहानी का जो एक अदद मैसेज है, जो स्टोरी जेम है इस कहानी में, वो है नो टू लिटर, से नो टू लिटर। उस मैसेज को आप स्प्रेड कर सकते हैं। उम्मीद करती हूँ कि कहानी पसंद आई होगी आपको। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर लिसनिंग टू मी। आई लव यू। सो आई थिंक संडे की शाम इतनी खूबसूरत कहानियों के नाम करने के लिए एक थैंक्स टू मोहित बनता है, और एक अच्छा सा expression for CBL. Yeah, you have all the reasons to say yay. And before I pass the mic to Mohit, I would want to take this opportunity to once again thank Bijal, Shalu and Arifa for bringing in these beautiful stories today evening for all our viewers and listeners. Back to you, Mohit.
Thank you very much, Sonia. And मैं ये कहूँगा, if the cloud is gone, मेरे सर से बला टली, right? It has gone out of my head now. Great. So quiz time. So everyone who's on this call right now, what we will do, we will ask a question, and it will be based upon the stories, the 4 stories that all the 4 storytellers have said. So is everyone ready? And what you can do, as soon as you get you hear the question, you can answer it in the chat box. Chat box is open now. Okay, so the first question, Shalu, you can ask from your story.
Sure. So I will ask a question to all, that what did Medha Patkar's story teach you at the age of 5? I will ask the question as per the age.
Subjective. This is a subjective question. You should have asked objective. Easier. Who will write that paragraph?
Interesting.
Okay.
So let me ask an objective question then.
No. I think people are replying to it. So okay. What is right or wrong? Ankur says what is right or wrong. Great. Okay.
Great. So that means everyone was listening so nicely. Then let me ask very objective question, that what is the Andolan that Medha Patkar first started with?
What was that movement? What was that movement?
What was that movement she started with?
Fantastic.
Praveen has replied, Mohit. There is
Yeah.
somebody by the name Praveen.
Right. So I think we're taking a note of it. Ridhima is helping with
Yeah.
that note. Narmada Bachao. And to everyone who's listening, let me tell you, India is being divided by Narmada. If you see, there's an India below Narmada and there's an India which is above Narmada. And so Narmada is absolutely the dividing line of India as one of the greatest rivers of the country. Fantastic. So now we come to Bijal. Bijal, your question.
Okay. All right, this one's easy. Where in Africa is one of the most contentious but precious metal mine? Okay.
They answered before you finished.
I just said Africa. I thought I'd give an easy one.
Would you like to ask which Congo? Is it the smaller Congo or the bigger Congo?
Yeah, don't be mean now.
I didn't specify in my reading, so I feel a little unfair asking that.
Okay, Congo is the one. Fantastic. The
But are
Congo.
you getting answers for that as
And
well?
I would like to ask, what is the name of that material? What is the name of that mineral that is being explored? That's a tough one.
That's it.
Coltan.
Colton, Praveen says Colton.
Coltan.
That's it.
Yeah, Praveen's the first. So Praveen has joined us from Lucknow. Fantastic. Good. Okay. So Arifa, your turn. Your question.
Myself. Yeah. So my question is, if you were listening to my experience in the forest when the wild boars attacked us, what was the reason that they attacked us? Can anyone tell me? I mean, if you were listening carefully, why did they attack us? Why did
You moved. Yeah.
movement? That's correct. Wow, you
So
guys
if there's,
were
so
attentive.
if you have a
Yeah,
wild,
because they sense some movement behind the bush. If they do not feel threatened by you, they will not attack you. Animals don't attack unless they feel threatened.
fantastic.
So yes, when they didn't feel threatened, they went away. So yeah,
Fantastic.
movement is correct.
So jada hilo dulo mat, no movement, right? Sonia, your question.
Yeah, my question is fairly easy and simple. Chiku ke dukh ka kya karan tha?
What was the reason of Chiku's unhappiness?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, kachra. Cloud of trash. I would give it to someone who has written cloud of trash. Not kachra. Kachre ka badal. कहानी का नाम कचरे का बादल है. Cloud of trash.
It's the cloud of trash in the hairs.
I'll
of
be a
Chiku.
tough teacher. Cloud of trash.
Fantastic. Okay, Shalu, one more question. You may ask one more question.
Let me ask a difficult, but in case everyone was listening carefully. So what did Medha Patkar do from studies end? So because I want our kids to study hard as well, so that they can make a difference.
Oh,
Yeah, this is typical parent talk, I believe. So where did she study? Let me give the clues. So she did with subject study. National School of what? National Institute of what?
Google.
Oh, somebody was listening.
Teacher, and that to a teacher. Nutan Kumarji is a teacher. She has been a fantastic patron of City Book Leaders. Thank you very much. Okay, Bijal, we come to you. So the Bij, which is the seed, and the Jal, which is water, we combine you and a plant comes out of it. So Bijal, over to you. Your question.
Unmute. She wants you to unmute her, I think.
Yes, you have done that. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, two-part question. Which was the lake in Bangalore that formed, and at least name two reasons it was forming. The name of the lake. That I said.
People from Bangalore who are listening.
Yes, Balaji, right.
Balaji, okay, Balaji, you're from Bangalore. And let me tell everyone, Balaji is a fascinating storyteller and a writer himself. Balaji is coming next Sunday, 3rd of July, in fact, not next Sunday. And he has written fantastic books on the histories of songs. So, Gata Rahe Mera Dil, and a book on R.D. Burman, S.D. Burman. And he will not only tell the stories of songs, but we have great singers as well joining in. So ladies and gentlemen and tiny adults, join in 3rd of July with Balaji. Thank you, Balaji. And that since you belong to Bangalore, you can answer that. Okay.
Part 2 was answered by Nutan, ammonia and phosphate.
Fantastic.
So,
Yeah. What is your second part of the question? Is there a second part of the question? No.
yes, there was. And Nutan answered that,
Okay.
ammonia and phosphate. So,
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. So, okay. Arifa.
Yes, Mohit. Yeah, I also love Balaji's works. He is an amazing author. And yeah, my question is, it's an easy one. So I told you 4 reasons why this misconception came about that tigers and leopards and these big cats, they drink blood. So can you tell me 2 out of the 4 that I said?
Gulping
2 reasons.
saliva,
Gulping saliva, that's right. But you have to write both of them together. Hold on to the neck and gulp. Saliva.
I think Garima has written the other one also.
Huh?
Yeah.
Garima wrote the other one also.
Right. That is right. Good.
Good. Attentive listeners.
Yes, indeed.
Sonia, your turn comes now.
Okay, my question is fairly easy. What is this one message from the story that I said, A Cloud of Trash? Do not litter. Wow. Fabulous.
Swachh Bharat, Swachh Bharat.
Swachh Bharat. Yes. Modi ji should feel happy about this.
Record it, send it to the Prime Minister. He might say it in the Mann Ki Baat. You never know. In fact, today, I don't know how many of you heard the Mann Ki Baat. He actually spoke something very fascinating about stories. What he said that we should actually go back to our grandparents. We should go back to them, ask them how did they spend their childhood. You would come to know some very fascinating stories. As Arifa mentioned, his father was a wanderer in jungle, and so you will come to know of some very interesting stories. And if you have collected some stories, while you send it to Prime Minister of India for Mann Ki Baat, you can send it to us as well. We would be happy to listen to stories from all of you, right? Any more questions? Let me think. I never liked questions. I always liked answers somehow. And that's what used to happen with me in exams.
Yeah.
So when my parents used to ask how was the exam, I said the exam is always great. The results are not so great somehow. So with that note, if you have some more questions, anyone wants to share anything that you would like to speak out, any kid who's listening to us, anything, we would more than happy. Otherwise, we started sharp on 6. It's 7:02. We'll take a minute or 2 as well, and would be happy to see all of you to join in for our very unique course that we are doing for parents. Okay, a lot of people are asking us a question, why is it for parents? Why can't my kids join in? Ladies and gentlemen, because the parents won't study, how will they inspire the kids? So this is for the kids. You should push your parents to study as well. Only then you will understand what the books are meant for. Yeah, any other questions? Bijal, Shalu, Sonia, Arifa, you would like to ask anything?
I think not really, not much, but just on a thing what you just said about the Vedas and the Upanishads course, why the children can't come in. I would suggest that, the parents can come in for the workshop and the children can read the book, because Rupa has written it so child friendly. In fact, she has really written it for children primarily. So it's a double benefit that if you join for this workshop, while you are listening from the horse's mouth, as they say, that you're listening from who has written the book. And at the same time, children enjoy reading the book, and then you can just be together and as a parent.
Fantastic. So a lot of people have sent us a question, Bijal and Arifa. If you can actually name your books, of course, the list is very, very long. It will take us but any books that you would like to mention to people, we will also text and we'll send the email as well. But in case you would like to name few. Unmute. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bijal.
all right. Firstly, hard recommendation, read all of Arifa's books. She's a fabulous writer, and her data writing is super. So, and especially, I have a copy of this one as well as the other one with Penguin that you've written. And I cannot remember its name, but Arifa will talk about it. So please read that one. This is So You Want to Know About the Environment. It's about climate change, food, water, waste, and wildlife. It's non-fiction, and it has lots of little actions and observations your children can do. You can map your moods according to the climate. You can actually track the pollution in your area and lots of other things. This is my other book. It's called A Cloud Called Bhura, which Mohit has very kindly just read recently. And it's a climate adventure set in Mumbai. And it's about what would happen. It's a what if, like what would happen if a brown cloud of pollution was to come on top of your city. And there is a politician, there is a very loud journalist, there is lots of science.
They're twins as well, yeah?
Yes, there are two scientist twins, and lots of twists and turns. And if you're a Mumbai person, fully, you might enjoy that. I have a new book out with Duckbill, which is about 10 champions who are fighting to save the planet. We've interviewed 10 people from India who work in different areas of wildlife as well as environment. And this is a book that I'm very, very fond of. I did the essays for my friend Rohan Chakravarti. He's known as Green Humor. He did these fabulous cartoon comic strips, and I wrote the essays for this book. It's called The Great Indian Nature Trail with Uncle Vicky. And these are my two picture books for younger children. And quick trivia, the story that Sonia actually read out so beautifully, that was one of the first books I edited when I joined Pratham Books. So thank you for reading A Cloud of Trash.
Pleasure.
Arifa.
Thank you so much, Bijal. You are a wonderful writer too, and it's a known fact. And So You Want to Know About Environment is a minefield of knowledge. You must read that book. And well, one of my latest books is called The Globetrotters, published by Penguin. And maybe you all can, it's my recent favorite too. It's about this, very naughty kid called Hudhud. He's very rude to teachers. He plays pranks on his classmates. And one day, a mysterious new history teacher curses him to travel the world with and as some of the greatest migratory animals of the world till the time he finds the answer to all wrongs. So he gets transformed in a blue whale and he goes on a journey. He doesn't remember that he was a human. The only thing he remembers is that he has to find an answer. He doesn't even remember what the question is. So he, at the end of each adventure, he will guess the wrong answer and then get transformed into another migratory animal and go on another adventure. So that is one of my recent books, The Globetrotters. And for adults, maybe I can recommend this book. It is called Steed of the Jungle God. In fact, Balaji mentioned Ruskin Bond. So Ruskin Bond had launched this book, in fact, in Calcutta. And this is on my father's 70 plus years of experiences in the jungles and the phenomena which he has come across, which can be attributed to ghosts and spirits, and his quest for rational explanations behind those phenomena. So maybe the adults can enjoy reading this book, Steed of the Jungle God. So those two maybe I can recommend for now.
Would love to definitely pick up. And that's where I do realize you both have written over 2 dozens of books. If I combine, I will have to check the price list before ordering them. But yes, there's no better investment than books, and no better investment than listening to these books and being curious about it. And certainly know more about nature, because the more you read, you come to know, and more you listen from others as well. So today we have come to know about Medha Patkar and her Narmada Bachao, and what she actually did with Narmada Bachao has come out in some very fascinating journalistic works that has come post that. Dead River is a great book. I will definitely, in case people are interested, I'll send it to you, because environment is something that is close to my heart as well, and I love to read all these books. A Dead River Project is a fantastic book written much after what she did, and has been a discovery of what Narmada Bachao Andolan was. Bijal, you just opened people's mind towards geography and knowing what is happening in Congo, Rwanda, in fact, the UN peacekeeping forces, and why are they paid the most is a fascinating story if kids would like to know, and many people want to go to army. And people in defense services love to go to Congo for various reasons. And that's the journey which Arifa just mentioned, that if you can convert into a whale or a cloud or say a tree, and then you can know the world in a much different way. How humans treat these co-living and coexisting creatures with us. And by the way, I don't know where are those history teachers. Why is it so that my teacher never cursed me? I would have become a globetrotter myself. But yes, and Sonia, fascinating the way you narrated, the power of storytelling. And I think I have learned some new interesting tips of telling how the cloud of litter comes onto your head and it can be told to everyone. And I'm sure we'll cut this video, put it on the Mann Ki Baat, say, "Dekhiye, this is Swachh Bharat." We are trying to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, tiny adults, big adults, all kind of adults. No one is a kid in this world, believe me. Everyone has its own way of thinking. Thank you very much for joining in, especially to all the 4 lovely ladies. Someone, in fact, asked me a question. Why is it so that all these 4 ladies in the poster that you have sent, they don't do their hair? You may ask this. I thought I'll ask you all. You can send this answer to them. Someone sent me a message. In the entire poster, I don't see everyone. They don't comb their hairs, I guess. Of course, you're at home, you can enjoy that. Be kids, be an Einstein always. Keep searching new things. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining in. 7-11, time to go. Have a great evening. Look for clouds, look for trees, look for air, look for great climate outside. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you, Sonia, for being such a lovely and wonderful host.
I think we must wrap up and round up by giving a big thanks to Mohit for bringing all of us together, not just for one Sunday, but Sunday after Sundays. And as I said in the beginning note, that thank you so much for sorting our Sunday evenings, especially in these trying times when you're not able to step out. And you know what better than to sit on your laptop or screen and listen to some wonderful stories
And
every
to the
Sunday.
2 lovely ladies who were behind the scene, but they never come in front, Ridhima and Geetu
Oh yes,
from Rupa.
absolutely.
And Ridhima for managing this entire thing in the back end. Thank you very much to Mann Consulting, Girish, who's from Udaipur. He, in one of our sessions, recited the story of the Raja of Mewar. He's there with us. And to Cool School, Amit, been a great support, reaching out to more people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Look forward for the few more sessions that we are bringing in July. Join in. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you so
Take care.
much. Bye.